So you want to make money, but there's just way too many things to buy. Did you know there's over 20 businesses in GTA Online now? And if that sounds confusing to you, I'm going to explain every single one of them clearly in this video. Timestamps are in the description below if you only want to check out a specific business. And I've already made standalone videos for every single business in this game. So check the description, the links will be in there if you want to go directly to a specific video. I really hope this helps you. Let's go. This video is going to have a lot of explaining in it, because this stuff can kind of be complicated, so let's start off by heading over to the board. In GTA Online, all properties and businesses can be broke down into 3 different categories. Ones that will make you passive income in the background while you're doing something else. Businesses that'll make you active income, meaning you can only make money while you're actively working on them. And the third type, well, it's properties that let you start up heists. Technically, this could be thrown into the active income category, but I want to put these as their own thing. To start off, let's go with the passive income businesses. Making money while you can do other stuff. That sounds pretty cool, right? Well, let's go ahead and make things even more complicated. We're going to start off with the MC businesses. So the first thing we need to know is how many of these businesses actually are there. Well, there's 5. And as you can guess, all of these businesses aren't exactly legal. These businesses are a counterfeit cash factory, a document forgery office, and then we have 3 different types of drugs that I'm not really allowed to say here on YouTube. So we've got some green stuff, some white stuff, and then some blue stuff that you might know from Breaking Bad. However, before you can go and buy one of these businesses, you're actually going to need a separate business first, and that business is called an MC clubhouse. I guess that makes sense. If you want to run a motorcycle club, you do need a clubhouse. And to buy one of these, we're going to head onto the internet, go into Mazebank foreclosures, filter by clubhouses, and here you can see all of the clubhouses you can choose from. None of these are really that expensive. I think the most expensive one is just over $400,000. If you're really looking to save money, you can definitely buy the cheapest one, which is right here, the Great Chaparral Clubhouse. This honestly isn't in that bad of a location and it'll do just fine. But if you do have millions of dollars saved up and you're willing to spend a bit more, it probably would be beneficial to get a clubhouse at the top of the city. But again, that's not really that important. What's more important is the upgrades you choose for your MC clubhouse. Here you can see all of the optional upgrades for your clubhouse. And almost all of these are completely cosmetic. They're not actually going to do anything besides change the look of your clubhouse. All of them except for the bottom 2. So we've got the gun locker. Essentially what that does is it just cleans up your weapon wheel. A lot of us have too many weapons and it takes a long time to scroll through all our weapons when we're out and about. So essentially this lets you put some of your weapons in the locker so that there's less on your weapon wheel. Again, it's really not that important, but it can be nice if you've got a lot of weapons and a lot of money to spend on it. The one upgrade I would recommend getting though is the new custom bike shop. Now previously all this let you do was customize your bikes, which honestly was kinda useless since you can just go to LS Customs. However, with the new business changes in 2022, now we can actually make some money with this one. Every so often, normally about once an hour, a customer is going to bring their own bike into this shop. What you have to do is customize the bike to their expectations, which will be pretty much completely free in the end, so don't worry about that. Once you've customized their bike, your job is to deliver it to them. During this sell mission, your job is to keep the bike as spotless as possible. Try not to crash it at all and deliver it undamaged to the customer. A 100% successful delivery will get you $50,000 plus the customer will pay all of the costs that it costs to upgrade the bike. So if you can make $50,000 every hour or 2 with this, you can see in the long run that's going to make you a lot of money. Another important thing to know about the MC Club is that you can actually make money through the bar in your MC clubhouse. As the owner, all you need to do is go up to your bartender here, start a resupply mission, and keep that bar stocked every couple of hours. If you can do that, all you need to do is head into your office in your clubhouse and pick up the money that's going to be laying there. So now in 2022 and beyond, instead of just the clubhouse being a place for you to buy more businesses, now there's 2 ways for you to make money with it. And now you know what they are. Okay, so let's get on to the rest of the MC businesses, the other 5 that I mentioned before. This is where the real money is made. We've got 5 different businesses for you to choose, and each of them is going to create a different type of product that you'll end up selling. To recap, these different types of products are a document forgery office, a counterfeit cash factory, and then 3 different types of illegal substances. businesses. A green one, a blue one, and a white one. In order to buy these, go into your MC Clubhouse in your office. You're gonna have to set yourself up as an MC president, and you're gonna want to sit down at your computer. From here, the game will let you choose any of these businesses and you can go ahead and buy them. If you're struggling for money, it's completely okay to buy the cheapest location for any given business. The business will still operate the exact same way and it'll make you the same amount of money per hour. So it doesn't matter if you buy one at the top of the map or one right in the middle of the city, they will operate the exact same way no matter what. For years, I've operated only using the cheapest location for each business because, well, that's gonna save you a fair bit of money. But if you can afford it and you've got lots of money to blow, buying one in the city is an okay option now, especially considering you can do these sell missions in invite-only lobbies now. So, in theory, you're not gonna have to worry about griefers. Before I get into exactly how these businesses operate and how much money they're gonna make you per hour, I need to let you know that all of the figures I'm gonna be using take into consideration that not only do you have the business, but you have also purchased the staff and equipment upgrades for each business as well. Now, buying the staff and equipment upgrades is gonna more than double your purchase price for any of these businesses. However, that's kind of the only way to make real money with these things. If you don't have the staff and equipment upgrades for any of these businesses, you're not going to be making anywhere near as much money as you could, and honestly, you're not even going to be making enough money to the point where I would recommend doing this. If you can't afford these two upgrades, don't bother buying an MC business because there's a ton of better ways to make money in the game. And as you can see on your screen now, if you're buying a white lockup, that's just under $1 million, but to buy the staff and equipment upgrades on your screen, that's an additional over $1.3 million. Yeah, you can see it is even more expensive than the business itself, so keep that in mind before you buy one. In order to buy these upgrades, go into your MC business once you've purchased it, and you can buy it in the upgrades tab on the laptop in that business. Okay, let's get into how these work. The process is really quite simple. Once you walk into your business, you're gonna see two bars on the bottom right of your screen, product and supplies. Your staff at any of these businesses will slowly convert that supplies bar into product. They'll be using supplies to create these products. Pretty simple, right? So all you need to do is two things. You've only got two jobs. You need to keep that supplies bar full and sell the product when you're ready to sell it. So that means you need to know two things: how to keep the supplies bar full and when to sell your product. There's two ways to restock your supplies. The first one, and the easiest one, is going to the laptop in your business, clicking on resupply, and then buying supplies. You'll see your supplies bar is broken up into 5 little sections. Each one of those bars costs $15,000. So that means to fully resupply your business, 15 times 5 is $75,000 for a full resupply. The other way you can restock your business is to steal supplies on your laptop. Once you click that, you're going to be put into a steal mission where you're going to go out, steal the supplies, deliver them back to your business, and that will slowly fill up that bar. Now, I say slowly because a lot of these missions are only going to fill up that supplies bar 1/5 of the way. Which means to fully resupply your business, you could be spending half an hour, maybe even an hour just trying to do this. Yeah, it's not worth it. Even though it might hurt seeing that $75,000 leave your bank account, this is by far the most efficient way to operate these businesses, so always buy supplies. Next up, when should you actually sell your product? The answer to this is actually kind of tricky. To start off, I need to tell you straight up, you should be doing this in an invite-only session. If you try to sell this in a public lobby, you're going to appear on everyone's mini-map, and there'll be a lot of people that are going to try and blow you up. If they blow you up, you will lose all of that product and you will make no money. And believe me, lots of people will try to blow up your stuff. If you do feel rather adventurous and you think you can somehow protect yourself from getting blown up, selling product in a public lobby will get you an extra 1% per player that is in that lobby. So if there's 20 people in your lobby, you're going to make an extra 20% when you sell that product. However, in my experience in playing this game for years, that risk reward is just not worth it. It's a lot safer to do this in an invite-only lobby. There's a few different strategies on when you should actually sell your product. Some players like to let it fill up all the way. That way they can just sell a lot more at once. However, what this is going to do is this is actually going to spawn multiple sell vehicles during your sell mission. A full business will normally give you 3 sell vehicles, which means that if you're doing this solo, a single sell mission could take up to 25 minutes to complete. You can occasionally get lucky and sell a full business, and it will sometimes only give you 1 vehicle, but that's pretty rare. A lot of other people, on the other hand, like to sell it very often when there's only about 1.5 bars of product. That way, you're normally only going to get 1 sell vehicle, and then your mission might only take 5 minutes. So honestly, it's up to you. Would you prefer to do more missions more often that are quicker, or would you prefer to do it less often but have a longer mission when you decide to sell? It's up to you. Let's talk about profit. How much are these going to make you, and which business is best? Well, first of all, when it is time to sell, you're going to want to sell to the remote location. This is what that looks like. You head over to your laptop, click sell stock, and you're going to want to sell it to the location that's furthest away, because that's going to give you 50% more money. That is absolutely huge. So taking that into account, let's get into the numbers. This is going to get pretty confusing, so if you need to rewatch this again, that's completely fine, or I've made this into a document that's going to be in the description below, so you can look at it that way. Here we go. 1 full resupply restock for each business will make you this much money. For the white stuff, that's going to earn you $201,600, and that's going to take 2 hours to work through 1 full bar of supplies. A full restock of the blue lab will make you $178,500. That's going to take 2.5 hours. For the cash factory, that's going to make you $167,400, and that's going to take 2 hours and 40 minutes. For the green stuff, that's going to make you $189,000, but that one's going to take 3 hours and 20 minutes. And for the document forgery, that's going to make you $126,000, but that one's going to take you 2.5 hours to work through 1 full bar of supplies. So what that means is if you're buying supplies for $75,000 for a full resupply, this is how much money that's going to make you per hour. The white stuff is going to make you $63,300 per hour. The blue lab will make you $41,400 per hour. The cash factory will make you just over $38,000 per hour. The green stuff will make you $34,200 per hour, and the document forgery office will make you $20,400 per hour. So as you can see on your screen, that is the order in which one makes you the most money, and yeah, clearly it's the white stuff that makes way more money than any other business. Now, for those of you guys that are thinking of letting your business fill all the way up before you sell, I'm also going to tell you the maximum capacity for each of these businesses. For the white stuff, it can hold a maximum of $504,000 worth of product. The blue lab can hold $428,400 worth of product. The cash factory can hold $352,800 worth of product. The green farm can make you $302,400, and the document forgery office can only hold $151,200 worth of product. That's not much at all. So now that you know all of the numbers, which ones are actually worth it? Well, I definitely think the top 3 are worth it. The white stuff, the blue lab, and the cash factory. All of those definitely worth it. They're going to make you some pretty good money. It's up to you whether you want to invest in a green farm. It's quite clearly the 4th best business or the 2nd worst one of these businesses, but in my opinion, running 4 of these businesses is just a little bit too much. That takes a bit too much time and effort, especially when you've got other businesses in the game to run, like a bunker, a nightclub, maybe a cargo warehouse, and of course, you're going to be doing heists. Moving on to the next passive business, that's the bunker. When it comes to making money with a bunker, everything we just went through with the MC businesses pretty much applies here. Think of the bunker like a juiced up MC business. Works pretty much the same way, but just gives you more money. The main difference, where you can buy 5 different types of MC businesses, you can only buy 1 bunker. So, how do we buy one? Well, just like with the clubhouse, you want to go to your internet on your phone, go in money and services into Maze Bank foreclosures again. This time, just filter it to bunkers, and again, you're going to see that there's a lot of them around the map. In all honesty, I would recommend buying pretty much any bunker except the 3 that are at the top of the map. The main reason for that, on top of it just being a pain to get to the top of the map all the time, is again during the sell missions. If you've only got a 15-minute timer and you need to do 2 deliveries from the top of the map to the bottom of the map, you just just not gonna have enough time. If you got the Criminal Enterprise Starter Pack, you'd actually have the top bunker for free. If that's you, my main suggestion would be get away from that as far as possible. Even though this one's free, it's just not worth having. Buy one closer to the city if you can. The two I would recommend are either the Farmhouse Bunker, which is a bit pricey at 2.375 million, or the Chumash Bunker, which is on the left side of the map and it's a lot cheaper. Both of these two are really close to the city, which means when you go to sell the product, you're not going to have that far to go. For me, I normally get one of the bunkers around the Sandy Shores Airport here, just because that's where all of my MC businesses are, and I like them being close. So once you're inside and ready to make some money, like I said, pretty much the same as the MC businesses. As the supply bar goes down, the product bar is going to go up. And again, just like the MC businesses, if you want to make more money per hour, buy the equipment and staff upgrades. I know they're pretty expensive, but if you plan on playing this game for a while, you will make your money back. As for the security upgrade, that's going to stop your business from getting raided. It's up to you whether you want to buy that. Personally, I don't normally buy that. Where the bunker is different from the MC businesses though, is you can actually choose what your staff are going to do. So head into the laptop in your bunker, go to assign staff, and you're going to see that you can either assign everyone to manufacturing, everyone to research, or a split between both. If you do choose to assign some staff to research, essentially what that is this next bar that's in the bunker. So if you choose to assign staff, that bar is going to go up alongside the product bar if you split the staff between the two. And every time that research bar fills up, you're going to unlock the ability to buy a new upgrade for a specific vehicle, maybe a new attachment or different ammo type for Mark II weapons. And that stuff can be useful, but for the overwhelming majority of players, you're probably just going to want to get as much money as possible. So what I recommend doing is assigning all staff to manufacturing only. Just like the MC businesses, in order to restock or resupply your business, you have the option to either steal or buy supplies for $75,000. And again, time is money in GTA Online. Instead of spending like half an hour resupplying your business if you're doing it solo, it's much more cost effective to just buy the supplies for $75,000 and then go do a heist or a mission or something. So how much money is this business gonna make you? Well, with no upgrades, no staff and equipment upgrades, you're gonna get $40,000 profit an hour. With only the staff upgrade, you're gonna get about $54,000 an hour. With only the equipment upgrade, you'll get about $55,000 an hour. And with both upgrades, you're gonna get about $79,000 profit an hour, which of course makes this better than any of the MC businesses. When you're ready to sell, keep in mind that if the stock bar is over about 20% of the way full, there's a pretty good chance that it's going to spawn a second delivery vehicle. So if you're selling solo, of course, you only want one vehicle, so make sure you sell before that stock bar gets to about 20%. Let's talk about the newest way to make money with the bunker, and that's the ammunition deliveries. Every 48 minutes, this truck at the front of your bunker will fill up with weapon parts. All you have to do is walk up to this vehicle, press right on the D-pad, or E on PC I believe, and then drive that vehicle to an ammunition. Most of the time, enemies will chase you and try and hunt you down, and once you complete that mission, you'll get $50,000, which is actually pretty good considering they're pretty quick. If the delivery is a long way away though, like you can see here, mine was over 6 kilometers away. That's a pretty long way to drive this slow vehicle. What you can do instead is actually just blow up the vehicle and then go straight back into your bunker. For whatever reason, this doesn't destroy the supplies and they'll be ready to go again. So I did this, did it again, and I got an ammunition that was a lot closer, only 5 kilometers away. Finally, let's talk about the mobile operations. In order to start these missions up, you need to own a mobile operations center, which you can buy through Warstock, Cash and Carry. This starts at $1.225 million, and it is kind of outdated nowadays, but still, we're going to cover it. You can choose several upgrades for this thing, like a control center, a weapons workshop, and even a vehicle workshop in the back where you can customize some vehicles, kind of like your own personal LS Customs. If you go to the terminal in your mobile operations center, you can start up the mobile operation missions. There's 6 missions to complete, and each of them takes you through kind of a tutorial mission for some of the armored vehicles in the game. They don't pay you much money. It's going to be about $20,000, and you need at least 2 people to complete these missions. But if you like collecting vehicles, this is definitely useful to do, because whenever you complete these missions, you'll unlock the trade price for the vehicle that mission mission is about. So for example, once you do the oppressor mission, you'll unlock the trade price for the oppressor, which if you wanted to buy it is actually going to save you about $1 million. So kind of good. And there you go. Now you know absolutely everything you need to know about the bunker. The Acid Lab is finally out and now in Grand Theft Auto Online, and it's quickly become one of the best solo-friendly businesses in the entire game. First things first, how do we actually unlock this? It's a bit more complicated than a normal business. You can't just go and buy it on the internet. You actually have to earn it. What that means though is this is pretty cheap to get. So, to earn the Acid Lab, what you want to do is go up to the R that's on your map up at Blaine County, and this is going to set you off on a short story. This is just the first mission of 6 missions you're going to need to complete in order to unlock the Acid Lab. The first mission takes place right here, and the next 5 will take place outside the Freak Shop in the city. After you've completed the first mission, just go over to this D on your map and start up the 5 DAX missions. Upon completing all of these missions, your character will steal the Brigade 6x6 and store it in the Freak Shop. From there, you have one more mission to complete. You'll have to go to one of 3 rival labs somewhere in Los Santos and complete a short forklift mission. You're gonna need to put these 3 crates onto the back of this truck in here and then drive the truck back to the Freak Shop. Once you've done that, you can finally buy the Acid Lab. So once that's all done, go inside the Freak Shop, come over and talk to this character here. His name is Mutt. Pay Mutt $750,000 and you've got yourself an Acid Lab in the back of the Brigade 6x6. Before I get into the details of exactly how the Acid Lab works, one of the most important things I'll go over in this video is the equipment upgrade for the Acid Lab. This is going to more than quadruple your potential profits for this business. In order to unlock it, go talk to Mutt in the Freak Shop, click on Acid Lab upgrades, and you can see here in order to unlock the equipment upgrade, you will need to complete 10 DAX Fooligan missions. To start these missions, call up DAX on your phone and request work. These missions are pretty simple. They should take about 5 to 15 minutes to complete. They'll also pay you out $50,000, but the problem is they have a 48-minute cooldown until you can do them again. You need to complete 10 of these in order to unlock the equipment upgrade for the lab, so that's going to take you about 10 hours. So start these as soon as possible, because as we'll get into in a minute when I talk about the profits from this business, this upgrade will more than quadruple the amount of money you can make. Okay, let's talk about how the Acid Lab works and how you can make money. Well, just like the 5 MC businesses in the game, as well as the bunker, this business is a passive business and works in a very similar way. You've got your supplies bar on the bottom right, and over time, Mutt, who is working in your Acid Lab, will convert those supplies into product that you can eventually sell. However, there are some key differences with this business that make it a bit more unique and, in my opinion, better than the other businesses. So first things first, how do we get supplies for the business? There's 2 ways you can do it, and if you're a veteran, you know this by now. You can either steal the supplies or you can buy them. In order to steal the supplies, come over to this part of your Acid Lab and start a source mission. This will put you in a mission where you have to go out, steal the supplies, and bring them back to the Acid Lab. When you're in this mission, once you collect the supplies, you can actually just request your Acid Lab and bring it pretty close to you. To do that, head into your interaction menu, go down to services, and click request Acid Lab. This is going to spawn it nearby, meaning you don't actually have to go that far in order to deliver these supplies. Being able to do that is a pretty big improvement over other passive businesses in the game, but the same problem still remains. If you're doing this solo, one steal mission is only going to fill up just over one of the 5 supplies bars, and it's going to be more time effective to just buy the supplies. So how do we do that? Well, there's 2 ways you can buy supplies for the Acid Lab. The first is going inside the Acid Lab, talking to Mutt, and resupplying them for $60,000. The second way, if you're not inside your Acid Lab, is just call Mutt on your phone and you can do the exact same thing there. Either buy or source supplies. And that's right, I didn't misspeak. Resupplying this business only costs $60,000 opposed to $75,000 with the bunker and MC businesses. So you're going to be saving yourself $15,000 when compared to all of those other businesses, which is pretty nice. It means we get a bit more profit, so I'm not complaining. Now that we have a full supplies bar, how much money is this going to make us and how long is it going to take? Well, first, let's talk about if we don't have the equipment upgrade. Without the equipment upgrade, one full 5 bar bars of supplies will make us $74,250. That's going to take us 1 hour, 52 minutes, and 30 seconds. In order to completely fill your acid lab without any upgrades, that's going to take you 3.2 full bars of supplies. Or if you're measuring it in the fifths, that it shows you 16 of those mini bars. I hope you haven't skipped your math class. Let's do some math. That means to completely fill the acid lab, that is going to take you exactly 6 hours with a full value of $237,600. So, how much money does that make us per hour? Well, if we were stealing supplies, we would get $38,610 per hour. However, if we bought all of our supplies, that would cost us $192,000 to get 3.2 bars of supplies, meaning our total profit across the 6 hours would be $45,600, or $7,600 an hour. So, safe to say, just like all of the other passive businesses in the game, do not buy supplies for this business until you have the equipment upgrade. Now, if you do have the equipment upgrade, which after you complete those 10 DAX missions is going to cost you $250,000, bringing the total cost to $1 million for this business. Once we have this upgrade, things start to get pretty juicy. With the equipment upgrade, the value of our product increases by just over 41%, and it also produces 33.3% faster. Overall, this means not including the price of buying supplies, this business will now make $83,800 per hour. That's 2.17 times more than without the upgrade. But there's also some other benefits as well that make it much more than that 2.17 times increase. Firstly, now the total cost if we have a full acid lab is going to be $335,200. Not only that, but instead of having to wait 6 hours for our acid lab to be full, now it's going to happen in 4 hours. On top of that, normally it would, like I said earlier, cost 3.2 full supply bars in order to fill up your acid lab. Now it's only going to be 1.6. So let's calculate the profit if we bought supplies for $60,000 each time. 1.6 full supply bars times $60,000 is $96,000 spent on supplies. A full acid lab is worth $335,200, meaning that our profit is going to be $239,200 in exactly those 4 hours, which means our net profit will be $59,800 per hour. That is pretty damn good. And that actually ranks it right behind the Coke lockup, which will make you $63,300 per hour. But there's a few things we have to keep in mind. All of the sale missions for the acid lab are completely solo. We're not going to get multiple spawn vehicles, and we'll dive into this in a second. But the second bonus this business has over the MC businesses is this little bench over here, where we can increase our production speed. Every day, or every 24 hours, you can use this production bench once. Once you do that, for the next half an hour or 30 minutes, your production speed is going to be doubled. Which means during that half an hour, your acid lab is going to produce what you would normally make in 1 hour. So if you don't have the upgrades, in the half an hour, it would make $38,610, and if you do have the upgrades, it would make $83,800. If you make sure you boost your acid lab once per day, its total production per hour actually goes up and overtakes the Coke locker, meaning that in terms of passive businesses, the acid lab makes you the most money per hour in the game. So that's how we make profit. Let's talk about the sale missions. All of your sale missions will take place on your delivery bike. That's right, no matter if you only have 1 bar of supplies or a full acid lab, you are only going to have the 1 sell vehicle. And I can't complain, it's a pretty quick and cool bike. Much better than any of the vehicles we get in the MC or even bunker sale missions. The timer on these missions is 20 minutes. Which means that these missions are most likely designed to be completed in about 10 minutes. And when compared to the MC businesses, this is pretty damn good and a lot faster. Keep in mind that in your free shop, you can also upgrade and customize this delivery bike, meaning you can increase the handling, increase the speed, and make it look how you want. That is most certainly a W in my book. Another thing to note is if you complete these sale missions in a public session, you're going to get the high demand bonus, or 2% extra money per player. Like you can see here, my Acid Lab was only supposed to be worth $335,000, but I got over $500,000 for this sale because I did it in a full public lobby. Not only that, but another bonus with this business is because it's not an MC business, you can set yourself up as a SecuroServe VIP or CEO, which makes it a lot easier to sell in public sessions. The reason for that is you can go off the radar and activate Ghost Organization for 3 minutes. Yes, that's going to cost you $12,000 or $15,000 or whatever it is, but I'm more than happy to accept that cost when I'm making an extra $170,000 per sale for selling in a public session. And finally, I want to talk about the Acid Lab vehicle itself, the Brigade 6x6. You can call this vehicle to you no matter where you are on the map through your interaction services menu. A neat little feature as well is Rockstar lets us change the name of our Acid Lab to whatever we want. I named mine Jesse Let's Cook, obviously a Breaking Bad reference. And if you upgrade and customize this vehicle in your free shop, this thing becomes an absolute beast and one of the best armored vehicles in the entire game. Maybe even the best. You can put a massive scoop on the front of this thing so it becomes like a ramp car or a phantom wedge. The windows are lightly bulletproof, so they're gonna be able to tank about 15 or 16 shots before they break. And this vehicle tanks, are you ready for it? 48 RPGs before it blows up. Yes, 48. I don't know about you, but I have never been shot by 48 RPGs ever in GTA Online. That's right, if someone's trying to grief you while you're in this vehicle, they are going to have an extremely difficult time. So there you have it. That's the Acid Lab. The final passive business I want to talk about is the Nightclub. But the Nightclub is actually one of the most difficult businesses to understand in the game because you actually need a bunch of other businesses in order to make this one work. So we'll talk about that one at the end. With the passive businesses out of the way, let's talk about the active businesses. These are businesses that are not gonna make you money in the background. If you want to make money with these, you have to be actively working on them. And to start off, let's start with the warehouses. In GTA Online, there's two different types of warehouses. You've got cargo warehouses and vehicle warehouses. Now, in order to buy either of these properties, you're actually gonna need to own another one first, just like you did with the MC businesses. That property you're gonna need to own is a CEO office. To buy one of these, go into your phone, go in Money and Services, and you want to go into Dynasty 8 Executive. Here, you're going to see the 4 different CEO offices that are in the game, ranging from $1 million way up to $4 million if you want to get the Maze Bank Tower. The good news is, the only difference in these properties is the location, so if you're looking to save money, just buy the cheapest one. Head over there, go inside your new CEO office, and you're going to want to sit down at the computer, but to do that, you have to be a CEO. So, head into your interaction menu, scroll down to SecuroServe, and register as a CEO. Pretty simple. Sit down at your computer, and then we're going to have a few options. On the left, we've got Special Cargo. In the middle, we've got Vehicle Cargo. And then on the right, we have Special Vehicle Work. Now, we'll go over the first two. As for the Special Vehicle Work on the right, that's going to set you out on special missions, basically, that can earn you a bit of cash. There's really nothing to explain there. The only thing you need to know is they're not as good for making money as the other two. So you can probably forget about them. Sit down here, go into Cargo, and there you've got all of your cargo warehouses that you can choose from. You've got 3 options: small, medium, and large. So what's the difference? Well, obviously size. A small crate warehouse can only hold up to 16 crates maximum. A medium one can hold up to 42, and a large one can hold 111 crates before you have to sell. So this one's a no-brainer. If you can afford it, a large warehouse is going to be the most profitable, because that way you're not going to have to complete sell missions as often. Instead, you can just keep resupplying it until it's completely full and then sell it all in one go. It just saves you some time, basically. It's also important to know that you can actually buy more than one warehouse. You can buy up to 5. This means that at least having 2 warehouses is extremely helpful, And that's because after each resupply mission, you're gonna have a 5-minute cooldown. So if you have a second warehouse, instead of waiting for the cooldown on your first warehouse, you can just start a resupply mission for your second warehouse. It's basically gonna make you almost twice as effective. Just like your CEO office, the cheapest possible warehouse will get the job done, but if you can afford one of the most expensive ones, it might be beneficial to buy one that's in a better location for you. So once you've gone ahead and bought whichever warehouse you want, now you can start making some money. So how do these businesses work? To put it simply, you're gonna pay money to reveal the location of a certain amount of crates, 1, 2, or 3. That will then put you in a mission that will set you out to go and steal those crates and deliver them back to your warehouse. After that, once they're in your warehouse, you can sell them for more money. If that's confusing, don't worry, I'll show you how it all works. So should you buy 1, 2, or 3 crates? Always buy 3 crates. The reason for that is pretty simple. It's a lot faster to source 3 crates at once instead of doing 1 crate over and over again. Even though it is a lot cheaper to just buy 1 crate at $2,000 per crate, the amount of time you're gonna save by paying $6,000 per crate and getting 3 crates, which is $18,000, is heavily gonna outweigh the profit that you would make by sourcing 1 at a time. So click buy 3 crates and let's start the mission. There are 2 different types of source missions when it comes to 3 crates. It will either locate a vehicle that has all 3 crates in the one vehicle, or it'll put you in a mission where you have to pick up each crate individually. It is a lot more time efficient when you get all of the 3 crates in the one vehicle, because when you have to collect all 3 individually, your character can only carry 1 at a time, so you have to go and get it, deliver it to your warehouse, go back out, get the second one, go back, get the third one, etc. Either way, both are more time efficient than just buying 1 crate at a time. Once you complete that mission, like I said earlier, you're gonna have a 5-minute cooldown until you can do it again. This is where it really helps if you have a second crate warehouse. That way you can either fly back to your CEO office or just set your spawn location there and find a new lobby. That's sort of an easy way to fast travel. Or if you have one, you can call a terabyte and source it through there. I'll show you how to do that on screen now. Or another way you can do it is start these sale missions up through the master control terminal in your arcade. Regardless of which way you choose to do it, having a second warehouse means you can immediately start another mission. By the time you complete that mission, the cooldown should be finished and you can stock up your first one again. Just keep going back and forth and make almost twice the amount of money. With the changes Rockstar made in 2022, there is another way that you can source crates for your cargo warehouses as well. Now, when you go into your cargo warehouse, you're going to have a staff member there. What you're going to want to do is walk up to them and pay them $7,500 to go source some crates for you. So not only are you going to be sourcing crates, but you can also pay your staff to source them at the same time. Once you pay them $7,500 to go and do that, that's going to take them 48 minutes. After the 48 minutes is up, they'll deliver that cargo back to your warehouse. Most of the time, they're only gonna get 1 crate. However, sometimes they're gonna get 2 crates, and there's an even smaller chance that they can get 3, and an even smaller chance than that they're gonna get you special cargo, which sells at a much higher price than the normal crates. So if you have 5 crate warehouses, for example, you can have 5 different staff members sourcing your cargo in the background passively while you're grinding these missions as well. And that's a big reason why these crate warehouses are more profitable than ever. Before we talk about when you should sell the special cargo, I want to quickly talk about the other new money-making method Rockstar introduced with this business as well. And that's the new export mixed goods missions. You're going to be able to do these every 48 minutes. Which is an in-game day. All you need to do is go to your assistant in your CEO office, and the option to start the mission is going to be right there. This is a really simple mission. You're just going to have to drive a truck to the drop-off point, and you're going to get $50,000 for that. So yeah, this is a nice little bonus to have every 48 minutes, basically. Okay, let's talk about when you should actually sell the crates in your warehouses. If you sell 9 crates or less, you're only going to have 1 sale delivery spawn, so that makes it really easy to complete solo. If you wait until there's up to 27 crates, it's going to spawn up to 2, and anything above 27 crates is going to spawn up to 3 sell vehicles. However, now in 2022, you can complete these missions in invite-only sessions, so there's no chance that your cargo is going to get griefed. So, it's much more beneficial to let your warehouse get as full as possible. By letting your warehouse fill up all the way, you can actually end up making $20,000 per crate. Whereas, for example, if you only sell sell 9 crates at a time, you're gonna get $14,000 per crate. Again, totally up to you which one you choose. Just pick the one that you think suits your playstyle best. These missions are normally pretty easy. It just consists of driving a vehicle, either by land or air, to the drop-off points. Some missions will spawn enemies that'll try and shoot you and blow you up, and of course, for most players, I recommend doing these in an invite-only lobby. If you did want to risk it though, and sell these in a public lobby, you are going to get 2% extra money. So potentially you could make a lot more money if you sell it in a full public lobby, but people are going to try and grief you. So that decision is yours. If at any point you get griefed or for some reason you fail the sell mission, what I want you to do is go into online and find a new session instantly. That's because if you do it instantly, the game won't have actually saved that yet, and you'll spawn into a new lobby with the same amount of crates that you had before. If you want to upgrade the sale vehicles as well, there actually is an option to do that in your cargo warehouse. Just go over to the red table, click on the truck, plane, or boat. For the truck, you can buy an armor upgrade and bulletproof tires. For the plane, you can also upgrade the armor as well as put a better jammer on the plane. And for your boat, you can upgrade the armor as well as the speed, which is probably going to be pretty useful because these sale missions take place in a tugboat, which is so slow I can't even describe it. Last time I explained the vehicle warehouses was in my Rags to Riches series, and you guys seem to really like that and found it pretty easy to understand. So instead of me just copying what I said there, I'm going to play the clip from Rags to Riches to explain how the vehicle warehouse works. Enjoy. We're going to be buying a vehicle warehouse. This is a really good solo business because once you get it all set up and ready to go, you can make $80,000 every 20 minutes with this one. So in order to buy a vehicle warehouse, go over to the computer in your CEO office, click on vehicle cargo, and you'll see there's a bunch of different ones here that you can buy. I recommend just buying the cheapest one. The location is actually pretty decent for the price, and the cheapest one is right here for $1.5 million. So once you've got your $1.5 million, come back to your CEO office, buy the cheapest vehicle warehouse, the La Mesa vehicle warehouse, and of course, don't waste any money on these cosmetic upgrades. That's not what you need right now. You've seen how difficult it can be to make money, so just buy the standard one, please. And then we can move on to the next step. So how does this business work? The whole concept of this business is you go around, you steal high-end vehicles, deliver them back to your warehouse, modify them, and then sell them to a dealer. It's a completely illegal business, but this is Grand Theft Auto after all. So when you're ready to get started, log back in to your computer in your CEO office, go into your vehicle warehouse on the computer, and click Source Vehicle. This is going to start up that mission where you steal the vehicle and deliver it back to your warehouse, so let's do that one now. Now we're going to talk about how to maximize your profits with this business. It is going to get a little bit complicated here, so let's head over to the CEO office and explain it. When you source a vehicle for your vehicle warehouse, it's going to give you a standard range, mid-range, or top range vehicle to steal. Standard range vehicles can get you $30,000 profit per vehicle, mid-range can get you $50,000 per vehicle, and top range can get you $80,000 profit per sale. So looking at those numbers, it would be great if we could just constantly sell top range vehicles, right? Well, you actually can do that, and I guess it's kind of by sort of abusing the game's mechanics a little bit, but I'll explain how it works. It'll all make sense, don't worry. When you click Source Vehicle, it's going to give you a random vehicle out of these 3 types. However, in the actual pool for the vehicle warehouse, there's only 10 different standard range vehicles, 10 different mid-range vehicles, and 12 different top-range vehicles. The game isn't going to give you a duplicate of any vehicle until you have all 32 vehicles in your warehouse. So what does this mean? This means if we continue sourcing vehicles until we have all 10 standard and all 10 mid-range vehicles in our vehicle warehouse, from that point on, the only vehicle the game is going to let us source is top range vehicles. So what I'm saying is you never want to sell your standard or mid-range vehicles. You just want to leave them in your warehouse doing nothing. And once you have all 10 standard and all 10 mid-range vehicles in there, Just continue sourcing a vehicle, it'll be a top range vehicle, then sell that top range vehicle. Source another top range, sell another top range. Is that making sense? If all of that is too confusing, just remember this simple rule. You only want to sell top range vehicles, never sell anything else. Alright, so let's sell one of these things. Alright, we've got 9 top range vehicles here, but we've got all 10 mid-range and standard range vehicles. So we'll click on one of the top range vehicles, click export, and then we can choose who we want to sell it to, a private buyer, a showroom dealer, or a specialist dealer. They're all going to pay different amounts of money, but obviously we want to sell it to the specialist dealer. That's going to make us the most money. We're going to earn $100,000 from the sale, but it is going to cost $20,000 to modify. $100,000 minus $20,000 is $80,000 profit. So we're going to select that one and then modify the car. Once you get to the modification stage, it really doesn't matter what you do to the vehicle. All of the upgrades will be free. You've already paid the $20,000. You can make the vehicle look as cool or as stupid as you like. It really doesn't matter. It's only going to last this one mission. So really, I don't put much thought into it. So let's sell this one and we'll talk about what to do from there. Oh man, I still really love that video. So that's the vehicle warehouse done and dusted. Hopefully that helped. If you need a bit more info, I've done a couple videos on the vehicle warehouse, so maybe check those out. But for now, let's move on to the next active business, and that's the hangar. The hangar is very similar to the crate warehouse, but it actually just recently got a buff that makes it one of the highest paying businesses in the game. Let's go. First things first, location, location, location. How do we buy one of these and where should we do it? To buy a hangar, open up your internet, whether that's on a laptop in an office or on your phone. Go down to internet, money and services, and click on Maze Bank foreclosures. Go up to the top right here, filter it by hangars so you can only see all the hangars available, and you've got a handful of hangars to choose from. You've got 2 down here in LSIA, the main airport in Los Santos. These 2 are the cheapest 2 hangars in the game. Now, on the surface, this might seem like a good location because, you know, it's close to the city, but these are actually the hangars that you should avoid. No, instead, you want to go up to Fort Zancudo, that's right, the military base, and buy one of the hangars in here. I recommend getting the cheapest one here because the location is basically the same. This is useful for a few reasons. The first is this is going to allow you to access Fort Zancudo whenever you want. You are no longer going to get a wanted level when you drive in or fly over Fort Zancudo. This will make it a bit easier to get around the map, as well as make it easier to go and steal a laser jet if you want to do that. And the other reason is because it's in a much more central location of the map. When you're doing missions related to the hangar, some of the activities can spawn at the very top of the map, some can spawn at the very bottom, and some will spawn everywhere in between. Being in the middle of the map with Fort Zancudo makes it a lot easier to get to these locations, as opposed to buying a hangar on the bottom of the map and then having to fly all the way up to the top of the map to do a mission, and then all the way back down to the bottom to bring the supplies back to your hangar. So yes, overall, even though it's a bit more expensive, it's much better to buy a hangar here instead of LSIA. Before we get into the business of the hangar itself, the Smugglers Run missions, it's important to know that the hangar is a very important business to buy. The main reason for this is because, yes, it literally does act like a hangar. This is the only place in GTA Online where you can store aircraft. So if you plan on going and buying different helicopters, let's say the Akula, the Savage, or if you plan on buying different planes, the only place you can store them is here. If you don't have a hangar, you can't buy these vehicles. So for that reason alone, for a lot of players, the hangar is going to be a must-buy property. When you actually choose to buy your hangar, there's a few things you'll want to know. Most of these upgrades are all cosmetic, but there's 2 that you might want to invest in. The first one is a sleeping quarters. This means you can change your spawn location to the hangar and spawn here whenever you like. That's pretty useful. The other one you might want is the workshop. This is the only way that you'll be able to customize your aircraft. Whether it's add a new paint job, increase the speed, or add new weapons to them, you are going to need this workshop to do it, and it's just over $1 million. Okay, let's talk about the business itself. How do we make money? The hangar business as a concept is very simple. We go out and source product, bring it back to the hangar, and then sell it later on. So of course, step 1 is sourcing the product. How do we do it? Well, now there's actually 3 ways to do it. The first is through Rooster, who is just sitting here in your hangar. You can walk up to him, pay him $25,000, and then he'll go out and source cargo for us. When he comes back in 48 minutes, there's a 75% chance that after those 48 minutes, he'll bring us 1 crate, and there's a 25% chance that he'll bring us 2 crates. However, the type of cargo he will bring you will be completely random, and as we get into making profit with this business later in the guide, you'll see why that's actually a very bad thing, and you might want to avoid Rooster altogether. Let's talk about the other 2 ways to source cargo. Both of these are through source missions on the computer in your Hangar's office. So let's go in here, pick a supply to source, and as you can see here, we can either start an air source mission or a land source mission. Here's the thing, in the middle of 2023, Rockstar added these land missions in. They didn't exist before this. And Rockstar, realizing how much people hated the Hangar, made the land missions so easy and quick. So my advice to you is never even do an air source mission. These things take up to 2, maybe even 3 times as long, and they're still just gonna get you 1 crate if you're doing it solo. For a lot of players, those missions will take between 5 and 15 minutes depending on the mission you get. The new land source missions, on the other hand, for any player with a decently fast vehicle to get across the map, these missions can take as quick as 3 minutes, and in most cases won't take any longer than 6 or 7. It's also important to know that if you do this with friends, you are also going to get extra crates. So if you're doing these missions solo, you'll only get 1 crate, but if you're doing it with 3 friends, for example, you'll get 4 crates because there's 4 people. 2 people is 2 crates, 3 people is 3 crates, of course. So let me give you some tips for these land source missions as well to make them a lot faster. There's only a few types of actual missions to get. One of them, you're just gonna have to go and pick up a crate off the ground, pretty simple. The next one, you'll have to go to a lockup and shoot a generator, run in, steal the crate, and then fly off. Easy again. But there's 2 other ones where it gets a bit interesting. The first one is where you have to steal a trailer full of the supplies, but that's not actually true. It will always be this brown trailer here, and instead of stealing a truck cab and driving it back to your hangar, you can actually just blow it up and the crate will drop out. You can then just drive into it and fly back to your hangar, saving a lot of time. The worst mission though, which will only still take you about 6 or 7 minutes if you're an effective player, is the mission where you have to go down in the submarine, pick up the crate and deliver it back to shore. When you get this mission, once you deliver it back to the shore and you put it in the truck, instead of driving that truck back to the hangar, again, just like the trailer, you can just blow up the truck and the crates will drop out. This will save you easily 5 minutes driving that truck back to your hangar. Once the supplies are in your hangar, you can then sell them for a profit. So if you've ever used the cargo warehouse or even the vehicle warehouse in GTA Online, the overall concept is very similar. So how much money do these materials get you? Well, before 2022, selling 1 product would only get you $10,000. Now, at the end of 2022, Rockstar Games buffed this business, tripling the payout. So now, every single material will get you $30,000 per crate. That brings the hangar a lot more in line with the amount of money you can make from the rest of the businesses in the game. So on the surface, it seems like you can just source whatever you want, right? If they all pay you $30,000 per item, you can just source whatever you want and make the same amount of money. Well, no, that's not exactly correct. Gathering certain products in bunches will actually give you bonus money. If that seems confusing, let me explain and I'll try and make this as clear as possible. The first 2 we will use as an example is counterfeit goods and tobacco. Each of these crates, of course, will be worth $30,000 per crate. However, if you get 5 of either of these, that will give you a 5% payout increase. You can see what this looks like on your screen now. It says it's going to give me a 5% bonus if I sell that stock together. What's interesting is that is going to increase by 5% for each 5 crates I get after that. So for example, if I have 10 crates, that's going to give me a 10% bonus. If I have 25 crates of counterfeit goods, that's going to give me a 25 bonus. And if I have 50 crates, which is the maximum amount of crates you can hold in your hangar at once, that's going to give me a 50% payout increase. The next few crates that are grouped together are jewelry, art, and animal goods. Instead of increasing the value every 5 crates, for these crates the value increases for each 10 that you have. Once you have 10 of these crates, you're going to get a 12% bonus, and that's going to increase just like the other ones each 10 crates you get. If you have a full warehouse of 50 crates with either of these 3 goods, that bonus is going to be 60%. The final 3, medical supplies, chemicals, and narcotics, well, they're going to give you a bonus for every 25 crates. If you have 25 of these, that'll give you a 35% bonus, and if you have 50 of these, that will give you a 70% bonus. Okay, if that's still a bit too confusing, I'm gonna put this chart on the screen now that should make it a lot easier to understand. Big shout out to the original creator of this on the GTA subreddit, and hopefully that makes things a bit more clear. So, how much money is this actually going to make you? Let's have a look. This is the amount of money that is going to make you, taking those bonuses into consideration if you choose to sell these products as a group. And when you look at the difference before and after this latest buff to this business, that is a massive difference. Where it would only get you $850,000 before, now selling 50 crates of narcotics, for example, will make you $2.55 million. That's a fair bit. You'll also need to note, like it says here, Ron is going to take a 2.5% cut of anything you sell, but honestly, that's not that big of a deal. Let's talk about actually selling this. How does the process work, and how many crates should you have before you sell? Well, here's the thing. With this latest update, now we also have the option to sell our crates via air or land. And if we sell them by air, there's a very good chance that there will be 3 sale vehicles that spawn, meaning there's gonna be a low chance we'll be able to complete this by ourselves, at least in a public session. However, if you sell it by land, no matter how many crates you have, you will only get 1 sale vehicle. That means you could potentially be selling over $2.5 million of product and still only have 1 vehicle. It makes it so much easier than it was before. Alright, before we get into the profit per hour, one final thing I want to mention is the cooldown that's going to appear once you source crates. This table here will help make it a lot easier to understand. After you source a specific crate, let's just take counterfeit goods for example, once you deliver this back to your hangar, there's going to be a 1-minute cooldown until you can source that crate again, or if you're playing solo, it's going to be a 2-minute cooldown. You can look at this graphic on screen now to determine all the cooldowns for whatever you choose to supply, so if you see a cooldown and not sure why it's that long, this is the reason. I'll also link this entire graphic in the description below, so you can come back to it whenever you want and see how to make the most money. Okay, let's talk about profits. If you're doing all air source and air sell missions, of course each player is going to complete these at different speeds, but taking into account that it will probably take about 10 minutes for each source mission, we can assume that if you sell these crates in a private lobby, meaning you're not going to get the high demand bonus for selling in a public lobby, which can be up to 50%, so it could be worthwhile doing that if you like the risk. Anyway, we can assume somewhere around $180,000 is probably about right. If you're doing land, source, and sell missions on the other hand, these will take about half the time. So really we can double that profit per hour, and then you're looking at about $360,000 an hour. But again, even that's not completely accurate, right? Because we will be selling these crates in batches. Each crate by itself is worth $30,000, but if you go out and source a massive bunch of the same type of cargo and you end up getting a 70% bonus when you sell it because you have 50, then you're gonna earn 70% more money. Now, yes, we do have to take into consideration the cooldown after selling the same type of cargo twice in a row, but let's say, for example, we want to rotate between medical supplies and narcotics. We get 25 of each, we're gonna get an extra 35% for each of them because we have 25 of each. That brings our profit up close to $500,000 an hour. And then say we go into a public lobby and sell them there in a full lobby and get that extra 50% bonus, then we're looking at somewhere between $700,000 to $750,000 an hour. The next active business we're going to go over is the auto shop, and this business is really cool. If you're a fan of cars and vehicle customization, this is probably one of the properties you're going to want to own. And the reason for that is it comes with a 10-car garage standard, but you can also customize all of your vehicles just like you would in LS Customs directly inside this business. It's an auto shop after all. In order to buy your own auto shop, head into Maze Bank foreclosures like you did with a bunch of other businesses and pick one up. None of the locations are really terrible, so just think which one's going to be best for you and go with that one. As for the upgrades on the auto shop, you've got a few to choose from. You can choose between 0, 1, or 2 staff members. And in the extras tab, you have an option to add a second car lift. It's important to know that this is just a second car lift. The base auto shop already comes with one. So what is the car lift? Well, the car lift and the second car lift are essentially one of the ways you can make money from the auto shop, but they're kind of the worst way to make money. Every once in a while, a customer will bring their vehicle in, it'll be put on one of these 2 car lifts, and then your job is to modify the vehicle to that customer's expectations and then deliver it to them. Most of the time, this is going to cost you around $35,000 to do that, and a successful delivery will get you around $60,000, so that's a profit of $25,000. When compared to the other businesses in GTA Online, that's really not good, especially considering that you actually have to do all of this. This isn't passive. You have to deliver it halfway across the map yourself for only $25,000. That's where these 2 staff upgrades come into it. If you want to buy 1 or 2 of these staff upgrades, you're still going to have to do all of the modifications yourself, but you're not going to have to deliver it yourself. When you go to deliver it, you can actually just click a button, let your staff member deliver it, but the only problem with that is there's a really high chance they're going to crash the car on the way. Most of the time I did this, I only got around $45,000 per delivery, which is only about $10,000 profit. Considering how expensive these staff upgrades are, my recommendation is to stay away from the car lift side of the business and sort of put your attention to the next part that we're going to talk about. The main purpose of the auto shop is because you can start up heists. Well, not really heists, sort of mini heist hybrids with missions. It's a bit more extended and intense than a normal contact job, but it's not quite as big as a heist. As for how much money you can make from it, it's sort of in the middle. Not going to pay as little as a contact mission, but not going to pay as much as a heist. So if you want to start one of these up, head up to the top of the auto shop, up to the planning board, pick a job to start up. You're going to have to do 2 setup missions for those, and then you're going to have a finale. You can do these completely solo or with up to 4 people. Normally they're going to take around 25 to 45 minutes, depending on how fast you are. And depending on the job, the pay will be somewhere around $190,000 up to over $300,000 for some of the better ones. If you're focusing on solely making money, I wouldn't really recommend the auto shop overall just because there's better things to do, like heists. But if you're an experienced grinder who has a lot of money and isn't really worried about just making as much money as you can as fast as you can, these are pretty fun, so I would recommend picking it up then. The final part of the auto shop that we should talk about is the exotic exports list. That's this blackboard here on the right side of your auto shop, and each day 10 different vehicles are gonna be on this list. If you find those vehicles in free roam, you're gonna be able to deliver them down to the docks, but only for $20,000. So again, not really worth it in terms of making money. So that's the auto shop. Let's move on to the next business. It's time to go over the heist properties. That means the primary way you're going to make money through these businesses or properties is just by playing the heists that they allow you to start up. And we'll start off with the cheapest and the oldest of the bunch, the high-end apartments. These things start at a pretty reasonable $200,000, and they can get very expensive, but honestly, you don't need to go for those ones. My pick of the bunch would be Alta Street. It's just over $200,000 and in a pretty good location. There's really not much to go over with these ones. Once you buy your high-end apartment, head over to Lester, a big L will pop up on your map, and once you go talk to him, just head into your heist planning board in your apartment and start up the heists. You're going to have to complete these in order, so it's going to go through the Fleecer job, onto the prison break, then Humane Labs raid, Series A funding, and then finally the Pacific Standard. These heists can be a lot of fun, and if you complete all of them in order, you're going to get around $2.5 million all up, so pretty good for a beginner. But beyond that, they're really not that useful because these things can be really difficult to set up. The first heist, the Fleecer job, can be done with 2 people, but the other 4 heists need to be done with 4 people. No more, no less. If a single person leaves, you have to start again. I've had times where I'm on the final part of the Pacific Standard job, someone leaves, and we have to start that heist again, which sometimes can take a really long time. The only people I would really recommend these heists to are beginners, because it's $200,000 to buy one of these apartments, and you can get $2.5 million, even though it's going to be a fair bit of work. Still, this is a really good way for the beginners. If you're not a beginner, the only reason I would ever suggest trying these heists is exactly that, just to try them out. If you're an experienced player, there are many other money-making methods that are way better than this. The way Rockstar has made heists over the years has sort of changed and gotten a little bit better each time they've done it. So those apartment heists were the first ones they ever did, and the second one, which leads us on to the next property, is the facility, and this lets you start up the Doomsday series heists. Unlike the apartment series heists, there's only 3 of these ones, there's not 5, but these ones do pay more money. But a little disclaimer, these things are no less painful than the original heist. These things can be really, really difficult unless you have a set crew that you're going to run it with. The first thing we have to talk about with a facility is the location. In all honesty, I would consider paying a bit more money for one of these to get a location closer to the city, because in all of the setup missions, pretty much, you're going to be driving to Los Santos. And in some of the prep and setup missions as well, you're going to be driving from Los Santos all the way back. Now, if you're completely broke, sure, buy one of the cheaper ones, but if you can afford it, again, I would highly recommend getting one as close to the city as possible. Once you decide which facility you want, there's a few upgrades you can get to it. None of them are really that worth it unless you want to pay a lot of money for an orbital cannon that costs like $500,000 to shoot just once. The only one I would really recommend is getting a sleeping quarters for $150,000, and that lets you spawn there whenever you want. Once you're inside, you'll have a spot for a bunch of your vehicles, including the Avenger, which was one of the main vehicles that came out with this update. It's a huge VTOL. And as for the Doomsday heists themselves, these are the payouts. Act 1 can get you 1,218,750. Act 2 can get you 1,781,250. And then Act 3 can get you 2.25 million. And again, that's on hard mode. And also keep in mind that that cut is gonna have to be split between your crew. Okay, on to the next business. This is another property where I didn't really know where to put it, but I'm gonna put it in the heist properties because a contract is kind of like a heist, and it's the agency. Agencies start at about $2 million and go up to $2.8 million, so they are quite expensive, but you really only need the cheapest one. To put it simply, there's 4 ways you can make money with the agency. The first is through security contracts. These are sort of like juiced up VIP missions, basically, just like a bit better. The next way is through the Dr. Dre VIP contract, which can pay you $1 million. The third way is through Franklin payphone hits, and then the fourth way is through the wall safe in your office. Starting off with the security contracts, you can start these up from the office computer, or you can actually just call Franklin for them. The difficulty on these is gonna be random, but depending on what the difficulty is, you can earn anywhere from about $32,000 up to over $70,000 if you get the hardest difficulty. Pretty much all of the security contracts, except for the asset protection, can really only take like 3 to 5 minutes. These are pretty simple things. Asset protection, though, will take 10 minutes guaranteed every single time. If you want to start up a payphone hit from Franklin, what you need to do is just open your phone and give Franklin a call. Once you do that, the nearest payphone will pop up on your map. Now, these are some of the most underrated ways to make money in GTA Online. Honestly, you can complete these in like 2 or 3 minutes pretty comfortably, and if you complete the challenge that Franklin gives you, you can get $85,000 per assassination. $85,000 in 2 minutes? Yeah, that's pretty good. And they used to have a 20-minute cooldown, but now that's been increased to 48 minutes, which kind of sucks. Still pretty good though. Next up, we've got the VIP contract, the Dr. Dre contract. In order to start this one up, you're gonna have to buy the agency and like own it for a little bit. You're gonna have to start up a security contract, then Franklin will tell you how to start it up. But just in case you missed it, just go to your office computer and click VIP contract. The contract is honestly quite similar to a heist. Once you get pretty decent at it, you can probably complete this in about 1.5 to 2 hours. And each time you complete it, it's gonna give you $1 million. So not amazing, but also not terrible. I'd say it's in the top 5 money-making methods in GTA Online. And then the final way you can make money is through the wall safe in your office. Now, this is going to start off at $250 per in-game day, which is 48 minutes. But each 5 security contracts you complete, that number is going to go up by $250. That'll max out at $20,000 per day, but if you complete a couple hundred security contracts, you'll be getting $20,000 a day passively. In game day, that is, so every 48 minutes. That's not too bad. But it is a pretty long grind, so keep that in mind. Couple extra things you're gonna want to know about the agency. It comes with a 20-car garage whenever you buy one, so that's pretty neat. Plus, you can buy the armory for $720,000, which is gonna give you your own personal ammunition inside your agency. On top of that, you're gonna get a discount on all guns that you buy through here. Plus, you can buy body armor through here. This is the first property ever in GTA Online that you can get body armor with. So overall, I think this is kind of worth it. If you add the vehicle workshop to the agency as well, you can add the new Imani tech, which on a few vehicles will add a missile lock-on jammer so those oppressors can't lock onto you anymore. Again, I think that's pretty neat. Alright, on to the next business. The next business we're going to go over is the arcade. The arcade was added back in 2019 and there's 6 different locations for you to choose from. My suggestion to you is avoid the 2 up north. They're really, really far away from the casino. And the reason that's important is because the arcade is the property that lets you start up the Diamond Casino heist. Before you buy an arcade though, you're going to have to go through a cutscene with Lester, which is going to be on the right side of Los Santos. So if you see the letter L on the right side of the city, go talk to him. As of today, I kind of feel like the casino heist is a bit underrated, purely because it's not solo. The Cayo Perico heist is the newest heist in the game, and it's solo, so everyone just gravitates towards that one because they want to do it by themselves to make the most money possible. But the Diamond Casino heist has to be completed with anywhere between 2 to 4 players. The funny thing is, if you're playing with 2 players, this is probably still the best way to make money in the game. If you're playing it with 2 people, this and the Cayo Perico heist probably make you about the same amount of money. What can make the Diamond Casino heist really good as well is you can do all of the setups solo, it's just the finale that needs to be done with a friend. So basically, you can do all of the setups yourself, grab a friend to help you with the finale and say, hey man, look, I did all of the setups, I'm gonna take 80% of the cut because you're only helping me with the last like 15%. Your friend will probably still want to help you because they're still going to make, you know, like $400,000 for doing almost nothing, just like 10 minutes work. And then that way, if you're taking 80% of the cut, in most situations, if you do it really well with 2 people, get the best loot possible, you're going to walk out of there with about $1.6 million. All of the setups for this heist can be done in just over 1 hour as well, so all up, that's pretty good. The other way the arcade can make you money is just through the safe that's in your office in the arcade, and if you have a fully outfitted arcade, that's going to make you $5,000 every in-game day, which is 48 minutes. So not something you're really going to notice, but it can add up over time. You can also add a bunch of arcade machines to your arcade if you like playing retro style games, but maybe actually the best part of the arcade is the Master Control Terminal. So to buy the Master Control Terminal upgrade, you're going to have to do that through the laptop that's in the basement or in your office of the arcade. And what this is going to allow you to do is manage all of your businesses from the one spot. So instead of having to fly out to all of your businesses individually and resupply them, you can actually just buy all the supplies and even start sell missions from here. So this is actually a huge time saver for anyone who really likes to grind out this game. So if you're a grinder, I would recommend picking this up for sure. The final heist business, I kind of struggled calling it a business, but we definitely do need to include it in this video, is the Kosatka submarine. Now, technically, this is actually a vehicle because you buy it in Warstock Cash and Carry and you can drive it around. So, I mean, it's a vehicle, but it does let you start up a heist, the Cayo Perico heist, which currently is the best one in the game. So, the Kosatka submarine starts at $2.2 million without any upgrades, and that might seem like a lot, but trust me, you're going to make way more than that really quickly as well. There's actually not too much to talk about with the Kosatka itself. You can add things like a sonar station, guided missiles, but really they aren't that necessary. You can also add a weapon workshop to upgrade weapons, but I mean, if you don't want to get that, you don't have to, because you probably already have one somewhere else. Maybe the only upgrade I would actually recommend buying is one of the Moonpool vehicles. It's the Sparrow, because this is going to make the Cayo Perico heist setup missions so much easier and so much faster for you, so I do recommend picking that up. But outside of that, the process is pretty simple. Just play the Cayo Perico heist. It can get you up to $1.5 million $10 an hour, which is absolutely insane. And that's about it. One thing I should mention as well is you will need to go to the music locker in order to be able to unlock the Kosatka, because you're going to need to get the intro cutscene to the Kayapuriga heist, which is in the music locker. But after that, the process is pretty simple. Buy a Kosatka and make a ridiculous amount of money. That does it for the heist properties, but we got one final business to go over. It's the arena workshop. No, I'm kidding. We didn't actually go over the arena workshop. It's kind of useless, so I didn't include that one. But we have to go over the nightclub. Okay, first things first, location. You actually have to buy a nightclub, so where should you buy it? Well, in my experience, it is definitely better to get one as north as possible. So I would recommend, if you can afford it, getting one of the two at the top of Los Santos. The main reason for that is it's just a much more central location. Some of the sell missions, some of the resupply missions, setup missions, whatever, they can be actually at the top of the map. So not only is it annoying having to actually drive to the top of the map, but you're also going to have to bring a slow vehicle back, and driving it through the city as well to get to the bottom of the city, well, that's going to add an extra few minutes every single time, and I don't recommend it. These two at the top of the city are also really close to the highway, so it makes all that stuff a lot easier. Okay, let's go through the nightclub upgrades when you're buying it. We got nightclub style, light rig, nightclub name, and then dancers and dry ice. All of those are completely cosmetic, and I wouldn't recommend it as a beginner unless you've got millions and millions to waste just to make your nightclub look a bit cooler. Storage, on the other hand, can actually be really useful. By upgrading your storage, that means you can store more product before you have to sell it, so you're not going to have to sell as often. Again, if you don't have the money for it right now, don't stress, but this is something I would probably save up for in the future, just so you don't have to sell every couple of hours. You can sort of wait like 20 hours before you have to sell if you've got a maximum size storage. But anyway, right now, we probably don't have to worry about it. Maybe grab one storage upgrade if you can afford it, but that's something you can upgrade in the future. Also, in the storage section, you have options to add more garage space, but again, that's something I would probably do later. Okay, so you've got a nightclub now. Once you get in, you're gonna have to do a few setup missions. They're not gonna take too long. I would just recommend trying to enjoy them, because you're only gonna be able to do these once. Before we get into how the nightclub actually works as well, one small thing I want to let you know. First of all, you're going to need to set yourself up as a CEO or a VIP. This is how you do it. Just go into your interaction menu, go to SecuroServe, and set one up. Also, since now all businesses can be operated in invite-only sessions, I would recommend doing that, because if you're doing this in a public session, you are most likely gonna get griefed. So I just did it on screen, that's how you do it. Once that's done, let's get into the nitty-gritty of how this business works, because like I said at the start, it can be pretty confusing. So the nightclub actually makes you money through two different ways. The first one is the nightclub itself, like the nightclub up the top, where people come in, dance, drink, pay money. You're gonna earn money through that, passively. But there's also another way to make money, and that's through the underground warehouse. This warehouse is full of nightclub technicians that you can hire. They're gonna go out, get cargo and product for you to eventually sell. What's great about the nightclub is both the nightclub up the top and the warehouse down the bottom are both very much passive businesses, so you don't actually have to do too much to make a lot of money with this business. So let's go through the two sections, and we'll start with the nightclub up the top. This part of the business is actually quite simple. You're going to earn money every single 48 minutes, which is an in-game day. That money is going to appear in your safe that's in your nightclub office, and all you have to do is go and collect it. So, how much money can you actually make with the nightclub up the top? Well, that depends on how high your popularity is for your nightclub. Now, your goal is to keep this popularity bar full at pretty much all times, and if that bar is full, then you're going to make $50,000 in that safe every single 48 minutes, which is honestly a fair bit of money for doing pretty much nothing. Okay, so how do we keep that popularity bar full? Well, there's a couple of ways to do it, or a few, actually. The first way is to hire a different DJ. As you can see on your computer, there's 4 different DJs that you can hire for your nightclub. Now, you're going to notice that some of them cost $10,000 to hire, and the other one costs $100,000 to hire. What that means is that one that's $100,000, I've never actually hired them before. So anytime you hire a DJ that you have never hired before at your nightclub, that popularity bar will go all the way up, no matter what it's at any point. From there, you can then rebook DJs that you've hired before for $10,000, and that's going to fill up that popularity bar a little bit, but not all the way. So that's probably the easiest, but also most expensive way to fill up the popularity bar. Another way you can do it is by completing Nightclub popularity missions. Now you can either start these up on your computer here where it says promote club, or if you're not at your nightclub but you want to start one of these missions up, just call Tony on your phone and click request a mission. Doesn't matter which way you prefer, that's going to set you out on a mission that will fill up your popularity a little bit. I should also let you know that just calling Tony at any time is a quick way to see what your nightclub popularity is at, so you don't have to come back in and check. So that way is the cheapest way to do it, but probably the longest. Note that you will also get a little bit of money for completing those missions as well. But then there's a new feature that Rockstar added, which is also very quick and very cheap, and also very effective. And that is either kicking out a troublemaker that's in your nightclub, or by delivering a drunken VIP out to wherever they need to go. Sometimes that'll be their home, sometimes that'll be a hospital, sometimes it'll be rehab. From what I've tested, one of these events will pop up in your nightclub about every 48 minutes, which is actually really good because that's as often as you need to do it. You don't need to do it more often than that to keep your popularity full. So what I would do is call Tony every hour-ish, let's say. See what your popularity bar is at. If it's not all the way full, quickly head into your nightclub and there should be someone that you can interact with. Again, that'll either be a troublemaker that you can quickly kick out or a drunken VIP that you can deliver home. Once you do that, you'll get about $10,000 and it'll also increase your popularity. So that's pretty simple. If you keep on top of that popularity bar, you're going to make $50,000 every 48 minutes in that safe. I should also tell you that that safe can hold up to $250,000, so I would collect this every few hours. Cool. Okay, let's move down to the warehouse. Now this is where it starts to get a lot more complicated and a lot less beginner friendly. This warehouse can make you a lot of money, but it also costs a bit of money to set up, and there's a few reasons for that. First of all, you're actually going to have to hire the technicians, and they're a few $100,000 each. You can hire up to 5 of them. You'll start off with 1 for free when you buy the nightclub, but from there you can buy the extra 4. You can assign each technician to one specific product that's on your screen now. That technician's entire job will be going out, collecting whatever you've told them to collect, and bringing it back to your nightclub. From there, whenever you're happy with how much product you have, you can then sell it for money. Here's where it gets kinda complicated and even more expensive. All of these products on your screen now actually correspond to another business that's in GTA Online. Cargo and Shipments is for the Special Cargo Warehouse. Sporting Goods is for the Bunker. South American Imports is for the Coke Lockup. Pharmaceutical Research is for the Meth Lab. Organic Produce for the Weed Farm. Printing and Copying for the Document Forgery Office. And Cash Creation for your Cash Factory. Let's use Cargo and Shipments as an example since it's the first one. You can only assign a technician to Cargo and Shipments if you actually have a special cargo warehouse. For Sporting Goods, if you want your technician to accrue sporting goods, you also need to own a bunker. So now you can see where this gets very expensive. If you want to have 5 technicians accruing goods for you, you need to own 5 extra businesses. What that means is, of course, this is not accessible to beginners at all because they're not going to have the extra businesses. But what this means for experienced players who have a lot of businesses, well, that means you can make a lot more money. It's also important to note that this will not affect those existing businesses in any way. This isn't like stealing product from those businesses. This isn't slowing down their production at all. No, this is completely separate, but you do have to own those businesses in order for your technicians to be able to get them. Rockstar also added a new way to sort of collect goods for your nightclub warehouse as well with this latest update. So there still is a way to make money with the warehouse if you don't own other businesses, but it's not as effective. Here's how you do it. Go outside your nightclub, go to your phone and call Johan. Once you call Johan, you'll see 2 things. First of all, you can see how much stock is in your nightclub warehouse, which is kind of nice, but also you can start up a mission. From there, Johan will call you back, give you a mission, and then what you have to do is go steal the cargo and deliver it back to your warehouse. So basically, in this situation, you're the one acting as a nightclub technician. Overall, it's not a terrible way to make money. This mission should pay you about $10,000 as well as fill up the nightclub warehouse, so it's honestly not too bad, but it's not as effective as just letting it happen in the background. Okay, so like I said, you can get up to 5 technicians to secure goods for you in the nightclub warehouse. So, which 5 make you the most money? Because they all actually get you a different amount of money. Okay, well, starting off with Cargo and Shipments, that's going to get you about $8,570 an hour. Sporting Goods is going to get you about $7,500 per hour. South American imports should get you 13,500 per hour, which is a lot. Pharmaceutical research should get you about 11,500 per hour. Organic produce should get you $6,075 per hour. Printing and copying should get you 5,400, and then cash creation should get you $9,450 per hour. So, as you can see, the best 5 are going to be cargo and shipments, sporting goods, South American imports, pharmaceutical research, and cash creation. Obviously, if you only have 1 or 2, I would prioritize the ones that make the most money, so that would be South American imports and pharmaceutical research, but if you have all 5, then those are the 5 to go with. Before we move on to actually selling, let's talk about the upgrades tab. So we've got 3 upgrades here: equipment upgrade, staff upgrade, and security upgrade. And as you can see, the equipment upgrade is very, very expensive. So what do these upgrades do? Well, the equipment upgrade is gonna make the technicians in your actual warehouse get goods faster. So you're gonna make more money with the warehouse. Obviously, that is a lot of money, but if you plan on using the nightclub a lot, and if you plan on playing GTA Online for a while, this is definitely worth it. If you only think you're going to be playing this game for a few weeks, then I wouldn't recommend it. The staff upgrade acts as the same sort of thing, but for the nightclub itself upstairs, instead of the warehouse down below. This one's a lot cheaper, and this is one I would actually recommend if you can afford it. What this is going to do is basically make your nightclub popularity just decrease a bit slower, making it easier to maintain. And the security upgrade means your business will get raided a lot less. Now, occasionally your businesses can get raided. That means you're going to have to go on a mission and essentially protect your nightclub. I'm gonna be honest with you, I've played this game for thousands of hours and I have never actually got my nightclub raided, so I don't really recommend this because I've never even bought it. Okay, let's talk about selling the product in your warehouse. It's time to sell. Well, first off, what we need to note is that price down the bottom, Tony, who's your nightclub manager, is actually gonna take a 10% cut of that. So whatever that is, take 10% off. You'll also see that you can complete special sell missions that are gonna pay you a bit more for delivering certain items. Personally, I don't like doing this because I just like to sell it all at once, but if you want to give that a go, it's up to you. It'll pay a bit more, but I don't think it's worth it. Okay, so when should we sell? Well, if you're trying to make the most money possible, I would actually recommend selling over $1 million at once. Because like I said, Tony is going to take 10% of that, but that's capped at $100,000. So that means if you sell $1 million, he's going to take that $100,000 because it's 10%. But if you sell $1.5 million, he's still only going to take a maximum of $100,000. To be honest though, that's up to you because it's not the biggest deal in the world. It's only 10%. But do with that info what you will. What I really like about the nightclub is no matter how much product you're selling at once, you're still only going to have one sell vehicle, making it a really easy business to complete solo. Now, depending on how much stock you're selling at once, you're actually going to get assigned a different sell vehicle. So there's 3 different vehicles. First one is the Speedo that you get given with the nightclub. That one's going to allow you to sell up to 90 crates at once. The next one is the Mule Custom, which you can actually buy and you're going to need to buy if you want to be able to use it. However, the mule will only be used if you have between 91 and 180 crates at the time of selling. Then the final one is the Pounder Custom. This is a pretty big truck, and this one's used for over 180 crate sales. What's nice is you can actually custom upgrade these vehicles to make them a lot stronger. They're gonna have armor. You can even put weapons on them if you want. But like I said earlier, I recommend doing this in invite-only lobbies, so you shouldn't have to worry about players trying to grief you. So hopefully you shouldn't actually have to upgrade these vehicles. The final thing I'm going to let you know about the nightclub is this is where you're going to store your Terabyte if you choose to buy one. The Terabyte is a vehicle you can buy on Warstock, and this is the vehicle you're going to want to buy before you buy the Oppressor Mark II if you choose to buy it, because you can store the Oppressor Mark II in your Terabyte and add missiles to it and whatnot from the Terabyte. This is the only place you can do it. The Terabyte also lets you start up client jobs, which are actually pretty nice paying little jobs. So if you do choose to buy that, well, I made a completely separate guide on that. I'll link that one down below. And we'll wrap it up there. So the nightclub is probably in my top 3 businesses in the game. Probably number 2 actually, right behind the Kosatka submarine if we're including that one. This is absolutely a must-own business, so I hope this video helped you out. If it did, a thumbs up would be awesome. Subscribe for more stuff like this. I hope you're staying safe, and I'll see you in the next video. Boys!